The movie opens with John Garrity, a structural engineer, trying to reconcile with his estranged wife, Allison. They are preparing for a party at their house, along with their young son Nathan, who has type 1 diabetes. The family dynamic feels strained but loving, as they attempt to rebuild their relationship. News reports are abuzz with updates about a massive comet, named Clark, that is approaching Earth. Scientists and media outlets describe it as a once-in-a-lifetime event, expected to pass by Earth harmlessly. People, including the Garrity family, are casually watching this event, treating it as a spectacle rather than a threat. The family, like many others, plans to watch the comet fragments as they enter the atmosphere. While John and Nathan are out running errands, he suddenly receives a strange presidential alert on his phone. It's an emergency message from the Department of Homeland Security, informing him that he has been selected for emergency shelter evacuation along with his family. Confused and alarmed, John quickly returns home to make sense of the situation. As the family gathers with friends for a neighborhood party, they watch the first fragment of Clark's comet enter the atmosphere on television. The news anchors are still reporting the comet's arrival as a harmless event. However, something goes horribly wrong. The fragment, instead of burning up in the atmosphere, impacts a major city in Florida, with devastating force. A massive explosion is broadcast live, and shockwaves are felt around the world. The realization sinks in that this is not just a passing event, but the beginning of a global catastrophe. Panic quickly spreads, and the news reveals that more fragments are on a direct collision course with Earth. John's emergency message becomes clearer. The government is selectively evacuating people to underground bunkers in Greenland to survive the coming destruction. The Garrity family has been chosen as part of this emergency evacuation plan. John urgently tells Allison and Nathan that they must leave immediately to head to the military base where they will be flown to safety. Confusion and fear begin to take over as they pack what they can and prepare to leave the house. As the Garrity family drives toward the military base, they pass by neighbors and friends who have not been selected for evacuation. They are desperate for answers and tensions begin to rise. Realizing the seriousness of the comet strike, John, Allison, and Nathan race to a military airbase, which is being used as an evacuation site. They face traffic jams and panicked civilians on the road. The situation becomes increasingly chaotic as people realize that only certain individuals are being allowed into the shelter. At the airbase, the Garritys join hundreds of other people trying to get on military planes to Greenland, where underground bunkers are said to be located. The military is checking IDs and scanning wristbands to verify who has been selected for evacuation. When John presents their wristbands, they are initially allowed through, but Nathan's insulin kit becomes an issue. Because of Nathan's chronic condition, the authorities deem him ineligible for evacuation. John and Allison argue and beg to be let on the plane, but they are told that no one with pre-existing medical conditions is allowed. Heartbroken, the family is forced to leave the airbase, losing their chance at immediate safety. In the chaos, the Garrity family gets separated. John ends up with the car while Allison and Nathan go in search of insulin, hoping to still find a way to get evacuated. Allison, now alone with Nathan, tries to get to a pharmacy, but as they travel, she encounters dangerous and desperate people who are starting to turn violent as fear spreads. People begin to loot and society rapidly breaks down in the face of impending disaster. Few minutes later, Allison and Nathan manage to get a ride from a seemingly kind couple driving down the road. The couple appears friendly and concerned, agreeing to help Allison and Nathan, believing they are all heading toward safety. While driving, the couple learns from Allison that she, John, and Nathan were selected for evacuation. The man driving begins to ask questions about the selection process, particularly how they got their wristbands. Allison explains that they were chosen due to John's occupation and how their son Nathan was selected with them, but their trip to Greenland was derailed due to his medical condition. The mood shifts when the man, realizing that Nathan and Allison have valuable wristbands that could get them into the evacuation planes, becomes increasingly focused on using those wristbands for himself and his wife. The man forcibly stops the car on a desolate stretch of road and orders Allison to get out. Desperate, Allison pleads with them to reconsider, but the man drags Allison out the car and tells her they will get Nathan to safety. Elsewhere, John hitches a ride with strangers, only for the situation to turn dangerous as they also try to take his wristband for themselves. Meanwhile, Nathan is still with the couple who abducted him in an attempt to use his wristband to gain access to the evacuation planes. The couple arrives at the airbase, and the man plans to convince security that Nathan is his son. However, Nathan tells the soldier that they're not his parents. The soldier takes Nathan away from the couple and promises he'll get him to his real family. After a harrowing journey, Allison locates Nathan, who had been taken by the couple. The next day, John breaks into a house. The urgency of the global catastrophe drives him to act quickly. Once inside, John grabs some water, gulping it down to quench his thirst. As John moves through the house, he turns on the television. The screen immediately shows the news reports about the worldwide crisis. Images of chaos, destruction, and mass evacuations flash across the screen. Watching the news, John realizes the scale of the disaster is even worse than he had imagined. The comet's impact is imminent and the destruction is spreading fast. This only heightens his determination to find his family before it's too late. John starts searching the house for anything useful. He finds a set of car keys, which gives him a crucial resource: transportation. John recalls the last piece of information Allison gave him. She and Nathan were heading to her father's house. With no time to waste, he speeds off. John finally gets there, but Allison and Nathan are nowhere. Elsewhere, Allison and her son, Nathan, arrive in Lexington, and frantically calls her father to tell him that they are nearby. Dale, who had been anxiously waiting for them, rushes out of the house to meet them. The moment is filled with emotion as they finally reunite after all the chaos. Dale hugs both Allison and Nathan, relieved to see them alive. After the emotional reunion, they all return to Dale's house to regroup. Inside, the television is on, broadcasting grim news about the escalating global disaster. The news anchor explains that chosen survivors are being evacuated to an undisclosed location, somewhere in Greenland, where bunkers have been prepared to protect them from the coming comet impact. As John listens to the broadcast, he realizes that the bunker they have been hearing about is in Greenland. The pieces start to come together for John, and he becomes convinced that they can still make it there. However, Dale, Allison's father, makes a different decision. He has come to terms with his fate and refuses to leave his home. He tells John that he would rather face the end in the place he knows and loves. Despite John's efforts to convince him otherwise, Dale remains firm in his decision to stay behind, accepting that he will not survive the catastrophe. After leaving Dale behind, the family drives toward the airfield, where military planes are still evacuating people. The roads are chaotic, filled with desperate people trying to escape. John and his family stop the plane from taking off. They are then ushered onto the final plane with other survivors, and the tension is overwhelming as they prepare for takeoff. As they fly toward Greenland, fragments of the comet begin to hit Earth. Massive explosions and shockwaves destroy cities and landscapes. After a harrowing flight, the plane finally gets in Greenland, where the military has established bunkers deep within the mountains. As they enter the bunker, they join other survivors, preparing for the final impact. 9 months later, the family and other survivors emerge from the bunker to see a drastically changed world. The Earth's surface shows signs of the massive destruction, with craters and devastation all around. Yet, amid the ruins, life shows signs of returning. Birds fly overhead, symbolizing hope and survival. Make sure to like and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.